Japan is a unitary state with a parliamentary system, a constitutional monarchy, and an island nation in East Asia. It is located at the western end of the Pacific Ocean, east of the Sea of Japan, adjacent to China, South Korea, and Russia. Religion in Japan is formally dominated by Shinto and Buddhism, with the rest mostly irreligious. Japan guarantees freedom of religion to each of its residents. A survey conducted in 2015 showed that only 24% of Japanese people consider religion important, while the remaining 75% consider religion unimportant, and 1% abstained or did not give an answer. However, what about the lives of Muslims in Japan? The following ink of wisdom will provide information about Islam in Japan for all of you. Watch on until the end. Islam in Japan is one of the minority religions there. Currently, the number of Muslims in Japan is around 185,000, or 0.1% of the entire population of the land of Sakura. Japanese Muslims are mostly immigrants, such as students and workers, who come from Muslim-majority countries. The majority of Japanese people still think that Islam has strict rules, so the percentage of Muslims in Japan is very small, which is around 1%, and is still dominated by immigrants and foreign students who come from Muslim countries. As for when Islam entered Japan, it is arguably not too long ago, when compared to several other Asian countries, such as China and other countries in Southeast Asia. The number of Muslims in Japan, as an Islamic minority country, continues to grow. According to data from 2016, there were around 120,000 Muslims from abroad living in Japan, and 10,000 native Japanese Muslims living in this Sakura country. Most of the Muslims in Japan live in 3 metropolitan areas, such as Tokyo, Chukyo, and Kinki. Since the early 1990s, there has been an increase in the number of mosques built throughout the Japanese archipelago, from Okinawa Prefecture to Hokkaido Prefecture. In addition to worship, these mosques can also be used by people who want to learn more about Islam. Many Muslims in Japan have settled down and started families. This indicates a widespread increase in Muslims in the future. Muslims will be able to help bridge the local community with the Muslim community due to their diverse cultural backgrounds. Nowadays, Japan is one of the most popular destinations for education, business, and tourism, and the large number of Muslim workers, students, and travelers has contributed to the development of Islam there. The deputy ambassador to Indonesia stated, "In Japan in 1930 AD, there were only 2 mosques. But today, there are more than 100 mosques in Japan." The Muslim community in Japan is mostly made up of immigrants, such as Indonesians, followed by Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and Iranians. The Islamic Center and the Japan Muslim Association in Tokyo are the centers for the study of Islam and Arabic for Japanese people. They are very curious about Islam. So the mosques in Japan are also open to non-Muslims so that they can learn more about Islam. The accumulation of these small efforts can contribute to a more peaceful world, especially by preaching in mosques to those who do not fully understand Islam. Like in the mosques in Kyoto, Muslims here have a study group under the auspices of the Kyoto Muslim Association. The association, which was founded in 1987, strives to make it possible for Muslims and non-Muslims alike to visit the mosque, and for the facilities to worship and learn about Islam in it, to provide rooms with Qibla directions, and to provide information on halal food places in Kyoto. The Muslim population has grown rapidly in recent years in Japan, as the local government has tried to attract more foreign workers and students from Muslim countries. The number of Muslims living in Japan, although small, has more than doubled in recent decades, from 110,000 in 2010 to 230,000 at the end of 2019. The population includes 50,000 native Japanese who converted to Islam. The number of mosques in Japan has increased as the number of Muslims in the country has increased, and now in Japan, there are more than 110 mosques. It is a welcome change for Muslims in Japan. The role of Indonesian Muslims in the development of Islam in Japan. The increase in the number of Muslims in Japan is due to the role of immigrants who work there, including Indonesian workers and students. According to one of the Islamic leaders in Japan, the number of Indonesian migrant workers working in Japan has made the need for mosques as places of worship increase rapidly in Japan. In 2022, there will be around 60,000 Indonesian migrant workers working in Japan who are Muslims. With this number, Indonesian Muslims living in Japan are the most numerous compared to other Muslims living in Japan. One of the mosques initiated by Indonesians in Japan is the Nusantara Mosque, located in the Akihabara area of Tokyo. The establishment of the mosque was initiated in 2000, when the local school could no longer accommodate Muslim religious activities such as Eid prayers. In 2012, a building committee was formed and construction began in 2016. Finally, the mosque was opened for Eid in 2017. Mosques in Japan have another function besides being a place of worship, namely as a gathering place for fellow countrymen in overseas land. The construction of a mosque is, for them, the creation of a network and a place for religious practice. At the same time, they also have the opportunity to experience the language, taste, information, and culture of their homeland. We hope that this mosque will become a place where all Muslims feel free to visit, to worship, and to study Islamic law, so that future generations will be aware of the activities in the mosque and will be able to prosper in every mosque in Japan.